I spent the majority of the first segment of this show telling you the history of so-called voter fraud in the United States, how George Bush spent years, virtually all of his presidency, having all of his federal prosecutors scour the country for voter fraud, how basically any immigrant would be insane to show up at a polling place and say, "Hi, my name is so-and-so." And in fact, told you the story about the husband of my niece who was not a legal citizen and was not successful in getting citizenship, and they both left the country. They moved to Mexico. Or all the troubles that my sister-in-law went through becoming a U.S. citizen. It's a huge challenge, and you don't take this stuff lightly. So first of all, illegal immigrants are not going to be voting. And secondly, when Bush was looking for all his voter fraud, what he found in large part was two kinds of voting fraud. A, people who were felons who had registered to vote in states where it was illegal. Now, again, this could not be intentional. If you've spent 5 years in the slammer, you are not going to show up at a polling place and say, "Hi, I would like to vote. By the way, I realize that doing so sets me up for another year in jail." Not going to happen. These people probably grew up in states where you could vote after you had served your time. Some states don't let you. Some states you lose your right for the rest of your life, like Texas and Florida. So they found that, just a few dozen of these people. And they found people like Ann Coulter and Mitt Romney. Ann Coulter registered herself at her agent's house. Mitt Romney registered himself in the basement of his son's house in Massachusetts, even though he's living in California in a mansion that is so fancy and so elegant that he hired a lobbyist to lobby the city to get the permit to put an elevator for one of his wife's Cadillacs in his beach house in California. But that's where he lives, but he votes in Massachusetts. That's the kind of voter fraud that they found. They didn't find any real voter fraud, but it was all a setup. It was all stage dressing to make Americans believe, particularly Americans who watch Fox News or get Republican talking points in email, make them believe that there is voter fraud going on so that they could do what's going on in Florida right now. Brad Friedman is with us. He's the founder and editor of bradblog.com. And Brad, welcome back to the program.
Thanks, Tom. Yes, people like Ann Coulter. That's the key there, because they actually had Ann Coulter, who they could have prosecuted, who blatantly committed voter fraud, but they chose not to prosecute her, and instead they're going after all kinds of people for whom there is no evidence at all that they have committed voter fraud, and they're essentially forcing them to prove they are innocent, rather than and assuming they are guilty.
Which seems to me unconstitutional, if nothing else.
Well, it's unconstitutional, and it's something that even the Republican Secretary of State in the state of Florida refused to do. Basically, the governor of Florida came up with these 180,000 names of voters, registered voters, that they are claiming are non-citizens, but there's really no verification for it. So
yeah, they're really, actually, Brad, if point of fact here that I tell me if I'm wrong on this. Mm-hmm. The using the criteria that the Secretary of State used to come up with this list, it was the Secretary of State, right?
Well, it was.
I thought it was the AG.
Secretary of State refused to enforce this list because he was not able to verify it.
Right.
All.
So it wasn't a list of people who probably were not citizens. It was instead a list of people for whom the Secretary of State could not verify that they were citizens.
Yes. Sort of. That's the problem. We don't even know how they came up with these names. And now, as we're finding out, and as these voters are being stunned to learn when they're receiving these letters, telling them that they are not citizens, a huge percentage of these people are, in fact, perfectly legal citizens. And yet they're telling them that if they don't request a hearing within 30 days, they will be removed from the rolls. And we're talking about people who have voted for decades. We're talking about World War II heroes. Think Progress had a story on a 91-year-old World War II
Well, and in fact, here's a clip from Bill Intercola, and I've noticed that it's all the names that I've seen so far, and tell me if I'm off on this, Brad, they all end with a vowel, which is typical of Hispanic names.
Isn't that interesting?
Yes.
Yeah.
Here's Bill Intercola. This is a 12-second clip.
I was amazed when I got the letter, I have to tell you that. I've been voting since I was 18 years old, or what it was. I don't know. And I never had any trouble.
All right.
crime in the state of Florida was being registered to vote with a name that ends with a vowel.
Well, listen, and the huge percentage of these names are Hispanics, Democrats, in contradiction to what the population of Florida actually is. And if you're not, if you're out of town for the summer, you've gone on your family vacation, you've got 30 days to request that you get a hearing, and then you must go about proving you're a citizen. And if you don't do that, you will be off the rolls come this November. This is, a problem, and it's not, by the way, not only going on in Florida. We're seeing something similar going on in Tennessee, where they're essentially making voters disappear from the rolls, and it's not really being covered. But as we saw in 2000, this could be.
There's a media blackout on this. We just have 10 seconds, Brad. None of the national media is covering this?
MSNBC, Rachel Maddow has a little bit. Miami Herald has been covering it, but they're not really covering the big picture.
But the New York Times, the Washington Post, USA Today, none of those, and of course, Fox's Wall Street Journal, Financial Times. This is a huge story. This is rigging an election. If this were going on in Guatemala
after the election,
yeah. If this was going on in Guatemala or Mexico, we'd be going, see, I told you so. Those third world countries, they don't know how to run a democracy. Amazing. Brad Friedman, bradblog.com. You can read all about it. Brad, thanks a lot for being with us.
Thanks, Tom.
Great talking with you. 27 minutes past the hour. You can do something about this. You might want to call the governor's office in Florida, or call one of the Florida senators, or call some congressman from Florida and say, what the hell is going on in your state?